Well, the rivalry everybody was hoping for is back. Red Sox Yankees wild card series. Who's going to come out on top of that one?
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special crossover edition of both Locked On Red Sox and Locked On Yankees. Can you believe that? I know. How does that happen where somebody who loves the Red Sox as much as me and somebody who loves the Yankees as much as the Locked On Yankees host, Brian McKeon, does? Like, how do these two people come together and make a show? I mean, it's happening right before all of your very eyes right now. We're going to talk all things going on in this upcoming wild card series, best of three in the Bronx. This is going to be an absolute dogfight, and I cannot wait for this series. Brian, how are you doing today, first of all?
I'm nervous. After this series got announced, I was confident, and my confidence has gone down, and more due to anxiety, the closer we get to first pitch.
Yeah, absolutely 100%. I feel the same way. We're going to be talking all about the series coming up, but today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. You'll be hearing lots more about how you can make a lot of big money on FanDuel a little bit later on today's show, but there are priorities here, and unfortunately, that is not the priority right now, because the priority right now is talking about the Red Sox and the Yankees and this giant series that we have coming up here. Now, it's been an interesting season, I would say, for both teams. I mean, the Red Sox especially were pretty down in the dumps for a while. I mean, we're 5 games under 500 at one point in June, and there was a conversation about whether they were just going to free fall or if they were going to be able to turn their season around. Clearly, they were able to turn the season around, and here we are, wild card series that everybody probably dreamed of if you're a Red Sox or Yankees fan, because truly this rivalry is great for baseball, if we're being honest. And, you know, the Red Sox head-to-head against the Yankees, a lot of this season were kind of owning those matchups. But as of late, I mean, the Yankees did win the most recent series that they played against the Red Sox, having won the last 3 of 4 against Boston. The Yankees are also on a hot streak going into the playoffs. So, Brian, what exactly do you feel are the Yankees' biggest strengths right now that really propelled them on this winning streak they're on right now and is going to help them in this series?
So the Yankees are a different team than when the Red Sox faced them earlier on in the year. Once they got Aaron Judge back from the IL in mid-August, this team completely changed. The bullpen figured itself out in September. Judge and Stanton both got hot at the same time, and they're both still hot going into the postseason. And their starting staff started to round out a little bit. Fried got fixed his issues that were going on for about 6 starts there. Carlos Rodon really rounded into form. The emergence of Cam Schlittler. It's a different Yankee team than the Red Sox faced early on in the season. I'll give you this, though. I don't think I'm alone in thinking that the Red Sox season was kind of over when they traded Rafael Devers. And I came into the season thinking I loved this Red Sox team coming into the season, not from a fan perspective, and I'm sure a lot of Locked On Yankees fans are not going to love me saying that, but as an overall roster, I loved what you guys had put together. You found an ace, you rounded out the bullpen really well, and I thought the lineup potentially had enough going to be able to score some runs and scrap some runs together. I didn't think this Red Sox team was a 100-win team, but I thought they'd find their way into the postseason, and we wound up seeing that happen. Both of these teams scare me for both reasons if you look at them from different perspectives. I'm scared of the Red Sox because of what they've done throughout the season. It's been a small climb to get better and better to where they are right now. The Yankees got hot late, so I think there's reasons to be scared of both teams coming in.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, I think a lot of people thought when the Red Sox traded Devers, it might have been an indication at that point that the front office didn't believe in this team necessarily, and that they were throwing in the towel for 2025 and that they were going to be sellers at the trade deadline. And it really seemed like things were going in that direction. But it's been really interesting to watch how things have progressed in San Francisco since Devers was traded there and where the Red Sox ended up after he was traded. And it really does make you wonder the behind the scenes stuff of what was really going on there with Devers that maybe people didn't necessarily see. And I do think that is going to be something that could expose the Red Sox in this wild card series is their lineup enough right now to be able to score runs against very strong pitching? Because after they traded Devers, they did have moments where it felt like this offense was still very legitimate, but they failed to go out and get a big bat at the trade deadline, which is truly something that I feel like is still something that's missing from this Red Sox lineup. So that's a big concern that I have going into this series is, can they hit the best pitching? And if the answer to that is no, if they come out and show that they can't really string together runs, then people are going to be wondering like, well, what if Devers was still in this lineup? Can they have that extra push?
It is actually funny because when you analyze this Red Sox team, if they wind up losing this series and not being able to score a lot of runs, you're going to sit there on your show and your postmortem and you're going to say, what was this team missing? And likely you're going to say, this team was missing Rafael Devers in the middle of their lineup. So that could be a struggle. I'll say this too, because you said that a lot of people may have thought the Red Sox season was kind of over. And there was a question of whether or not the front office thought that after they lost Rafael Devers or they traded away Rafael Devers. I think the front office believed that in Boston. I don't think this front office believed in this team at the trade deadline because it gives an explanation of why they didn't really do much of the trade deadline. Their biggest acquisition was Dustin May.
Who's now hurt, by the way.
Yeah, so I don't think Red Sox front office even thought this team was as good as it is, which is what's a little concerning to me is they didn't believe in this team. And I think there's a chance that Alex Cora used that mental aspect of it to say, hey, your own front office doesn't believe in you. Get on this high horse and let's go. And I think the Red Sox kind of believed in that and ran with that. So I do find they're rolling with a certain level of confidence that's kind of hard to step in front of the Red Sox are right now. This is a team that really, they think that their own ownership and front office doesn't believe in them. So when you have that level of confidence going with you and it's really, that's a true us against the world mentality. That's a scary thing to try and step in front of if you're the Yankees.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because things truly did take a turn for the better when they called up Roman Anthony. I mean, as much as the scenario for why he got called up had to do with an injury because Willie Abreu was placed on the injured list and they needed another outfielder, so they called up Roman. And ever since then, it seemed like the chemistry was through the roof with this team. A lot of things were going well for them, and he had established himself as the leadoff hitter for this team, and then he got hurt. And once he got hurt, the Red Sox offense completely fell apart. They were unable to score once again. So it really felt like this rookie, who obviously prior to getting called up was the number one prospect in baseball for a reason, really special talent that they have here. But it's kind of interesting that he kind of set the tone seemingly for what this lineup was. And, they still are unsure as to exactly when he's going to be 100% healthy enough for them to bring him back. Certainly, if they do advance, then later in the playoffs, it's definitely a possibility. But they've had to navigate how to win games without him in the lineup, and now they have started to be able to figure that out. The Red Sox are a young, athletic team, and that's something that I see them using to their advantage in this series. Their ability to steal bases, their ability to play small ball and generate runs. That's something that is going to be something they're going to have to utilize in this series, especially against a tough pitcher like Fried. I mean, the Red Sox don't have a lineup where you're going to just see 6 home runs a night. That's just not who they are, but they are very good at manufacturing runs because they utilize that speed on the base paths. And that could be something that I see helping the Red Sox out in this type of series.
The benefit the Yankees have is their first 2 starters in Rodon and Fried are both lefties. So you do have that. Lefties are going to be able to hold the run game a little bit as opposed to righties. So you do have that advantage a little bit. The Yankees are going to be starting Austin Wells at catcher in game 1, which you did see in the last start of the season for Fried. They started Ben Rice at catcher. And we kind of thought going into the postseason, are they going to want to have Ben Rice be the full-time catcher? His power numbers are better. They're going to start Austin Wells to be able to try and mitigate the Red Sox running game, because every time the Red Sox beat the Yankees of late, it has to do with you guys creating havoc on the base paths. So the Yankees are going to have to try and slow that down as best as possible. It's very funny when you mention that too, because the Red Sox are able to manufacture runs the ways the Yankees just don't do. The Yankees tend to rely on the home run ball, and this year has been better for the Yankees as opposed to past years when it comes to relying on the home run ball. But overall, the Yankees are not winning a World Series if they don't hit home runs in the postseason, and they're going to need to do that. The Red Sox could win a World Series without hitting a lot of home runs in the postseason. I think there's a strength to that in the month of October. So I'm interested to see how both teams attack that. The Yankees are going to have to slow down the running game. They have no option.
Get you right back to that. But first, you've probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, like that actually works. There are so many products out there, and it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. That's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. And now, Nutrafol is the official hair growth partner of Major League Baseball. You can feel great about what you're putting into your body since Nutrafol hair growth supplements are backed by peer-reviewed studies and NSF content certified, the gold standard in third-party certification for supplements. See thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Find out why Nutrafol is the best-selling hair growth supplement brand at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB. The other thing to keep in mind here is that Garrett Crochet, as of late, has had a home run problem. Nobody knows why. I mean, he's been a little fatigued. They've had him pitch on 4 days rest a lot as of late, which could be a factor in that. But he has been having some problems with giving up home runs as of late. And I do think that's something that if the Yankees get to him early in the game, the Red Sox could have trouble climbing out of a hole, because I don't feel overly confident in the Red Sox's ability to pounce on Max Fried early on. I think the Red Sox best ability there would be to generate his pitch count and try to get him out of the game earlier, which they are very good at doing. They can put up competitive at-bats and force pitchers to work. So I think that's something they are going to have to do. But the Yankees can try to rely on their home run ball against a guy like Garrett Crochet, because that is something that as of late that he has done a lot of. But like you also mentioned, he has pitched well against the Yankees overall this year. So that's something they're going to have to navigate as well.
The problem with high velocity aces late in the year is when they start to gain when the fatigue starts to set in, specifically in their legs, they don't necessarily lose their velocity. They lose their command and location. And the problem with a pitcher like Garrett Crochet is when you lose your command and you're still throwing 98, once a guy makes contact with that in the right spot, that ball's going out of the ballpark. The beauty of Crochet is he can command 98, 99, and then it's basically impossible to hit. It is funny, and I try to stay away from cliche baseball opinions, but overall, Gabby, those opinions are the ones that tend to always be the correct opinions when it comes to how you're going to beat a team with an ace. Because I was sitting here hearing you early on when you're like, well, the trick for the Red Sox to win this game is they're going to have to get to Max Fried early. They're going to have to try and work him and get to the Yankee bullpen. That's the exact same strategy that I'm going to give you with the Yankees facing Garrett Crochet. That's what they have to do. They have to work the count. I gave this opinion earlier on our show of Locked On Yankees, and me and Stacy both kind of agreed. I would have this rule for every single Yankee batter not named Aaron Judge. You must take 2 strikes on Garrett Crochet. And it might sound stupid because of Garrett Crochet's strikeout ability, but I'll tell you this. That guarantees that every at-bat, you're pretty much getting at least 4 pitches out of Crochet. And Aaron Judge, I'll give carte blanche, swing it whatever you want, because he's been so good that he can change a baseball game in one swing. The rest of the Yankee lineup, and they've had good hitters in that lineup, the rest of the Yankee lineup should take at least 2 pitches on Garrett Crochet. You have to get him out of the game. I know the Red Sox bullpen overall ERA has been better all year, but the Yankee bullpen of the last month has been a lot better and really figured things out. And I think your only hope is to get to that middle part of the Red Sox bullpen. And it's going to be hard to do that against Crochet, because Crochet lines up to be able to give you 7 innings and then go right into Whitlock and then right into Chapman, which is devastating to say as a Yankee fan out loud, because those are both former Yankees. But that is the best chance the Red Sox have of winning Tuesday's game. is getting length out of Crochet to right into Whitlock, right into Chapman. The Yankees are screwed either way. You have to try and get to that middle part of the Red Sox bullpen. That's your best hope.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the middle part of the Red Sox bullpen has been a weakness all year. They haven't really had a lot of reliable options to use in low leverage in those middle relief type of roles. Those were always the guys that continuously were struggling. Those were the guys that truly lost games a lot of the times for the Red Sox. And you look at a guy like Chapman, I mean, nobody expected him to be as good as he was this year. I went into this season very skeptical about the idea of them using Chapman in a closing role. I said, I just don't know how that's going to work. Like, we should maybe make Garrett Whitlock the closer as long as he's able to stay healthy. That probably would be a good role for him. But Chapman comes out and has this season that he's having that's been truly remarkable for the Red Sox. And it's been a long time since the Red Sox have had a closer like him, really, that's performing at this high of a level.
Can I ask you this, actually? What is your level of concern with Chapman in big spots in the postseason? Because I know he's been lights out for the Red Sox all year, but the playoffs are a different animal. And coming from a Yankee fan, and I watched him pitch in a lot of postseason games with the Yankees, he gets the yips. And when he starts to lose the zone, Gabby, he loses the zone. Like, he can't find the zone. So is there a level of concern for you coming in with Chapman, or has he just been so good all year that you don't have any fear at all with Kevin coming in?
No, absolutely. There's definitely some reservations there.
Interesting. That gives me more confidence.
Though, he has cut down a lot on his walk rate this year. That's been a big difference. That has been something that has helped him to find a lot more success this year. Is he's just had better command than what we've seen from him over the last few years in general. Shout out to Connor Wong for helping to fix that problem with Aroldis Chapman. So there's definitely some level of concern. However, I don't think the level of concern outweighs how confident I would be in his ability to close out a game for this Red Sox team. I just think he is on this run right now that is unstoppable, really. And I just don't feel not confident enough that he wouldn't be able to take care of business. I'm still absolutely 100% throwing him out there in the ninth inning in a one-run game, because who else would I trust to do that? And I do think, he's been there before. He's been in this spot before. He's coming into a place that he's very familiar with pitching in. And I think the way that this Red Sox team has been able to manage him this year has allowed him to be able to prosper in that role. So I definitely go in with a little bit of concern there, but not a whole lot compared to what Yankees fans might think based on the experiences that they've had with Chapman.
That's a very honestly good take on it. I respect that opinion a lot, just because I think there is a little bit of cause for concern, like you're stating, but he's been so good all year, and the command is in that he's fixed what he's struggled with kind of his entire career. All of a sudden, he's fixed it in his mid-30s, which, again, makes no sense to anybody in baseball. But there's time to dive into that when the offseason occurs. But right now, I do agree with you. I got to ask you this on the pitching theme, and especially with the Red Sox elite level of pitching. Garrett Whitlock's been great, and there's certain debate either way of who wins the Cy Young, and whether it's Tarek Skubal or him. No one's really going to complain over who gets it. They've both been that amazing. Garrett Crochet, coming from a team that wasn't a playoff team prior, not having the experience in the postseason. I've often said this. There are not many home field advantages in baseball that are true home field advantages in the postseason. Fenway is certainly one of them. Wrigley is one of them. St. Louis and Busch Stadium is one of them. There's not a lot. Citizens Bank for sure. Yankee Stadium, I think, is one of the top ones.
Yeah.
Is there a level of concern to you with Crochet? And he's been great. But this is the first time that he's ever started a playoff game in this kind of environment. Does that scare you a little bit on the road?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's actually a concern for me for a lot of the players on this team, because people forget that this Red Sox team overall is young. There are a lot of inexperienced players on this team, and that's why bringing in a guy like Alex Bregman in the offseason, who is a true veteran that has been there, done that, and understands what it's like to win and win in a place like Yankee Stadium. Also,
specifically, yeah.
Ask him about the experience at Yankee Stadium. That is going to be drastically beneficial for everybody in this clubhouse. All throughout the course of the season, he served as a great mentor for younger players on this team. But I think him being there and his presence is incredibly valuable for that reason. I mean, we look at the Red Sox roster in general. Brian Bello also, I'll use him as an example because he's scheduled to pitch game 2. Another guy who doesn't have the postseason experience, but has throughout the course of his career pitched very well at Yankee Stadium, but the playoffs are a whole different game. Yep. So I have a lot of concern. That is definitely something that's on my list of this Red Sox team that I could see holding them back is the Yankees as a roster as a whole have more playoff experience than the Red Sox do right now. And I could see that being something that causes the Red Sox to get rattled, is not being able to perform in that environment at Yankee Stadium. I've talked about it a lot on my show. And I actually talked about this point too, is Lucas Giolito, who unfortunately was ruled out for the wild card series because he's dealing with an elbow issue. They don't know the extent of that right now. But he's been very off and on this season. But when the guy's been on, he's been insanely good.
And he kills the Yankees.
Yep. And that is another factor in this too, is if they were to have Lucas Giolito around, even him, because he at least has had a taste of all of this because he's, been around a while. That's even somebody who could help these other starters through it. But the fact that he's not available, I think could be detrimental and could cause guys like Crochet and Bello to struggle. Brian Bello is not a guy who can bounce back easily if he gets rattled. I mean, he's a guy who completely loses the strike zone if something is off. And if he does not respond well to that environment, I could very easily see game 2 being a complete meltdown for him. Obviously, I hope I'm wrong. Hopefully he just rises to the occasion and it's like any other start he's made at Yankee Stadium. But this team as a whole, I am very concerned about lack of experience, and they're going to need their veterans on this team to be able to step up, which is another reason why I was a little bit surprised that they ended up straight up releasing Walker Buehler. I mean, obviously it wasn't working with him in the rotation, but I thought keeping him around to maybe pitch in long relief out of the pen, and from a leadership perspective, a guy who's just coming off of a World Series championship last year in which he closed out that final game, as you know, that's a guy who could be beneficial even from a locker room perspective also. So when you don't have a lot of veterans on the team, you kind of want to keep the guys that you do have around. So yes, I'm very concerned about Crochet in that he doesn't have that type of experience, and you really truly never know how anybody's going to perform in a playoff-like atmosphere until you see them do it. And so I am curious to see how this young roster adapts to that type of environment.
The Walker Buehler stuff is interesting because those veteran type arms, you see a lot of the times they'll have a 4 or 5 ERA coming into the season, into the postseason, and just not having a good year. And for some reason, those guys, the postseason has been there, done that kind of thing, and they buckle down and give you 2 runs over 6 innings, exactly what you need. So and they could really use a Walker Buehler for game 3 right now with Giolito news. And that point, too, is while Giolito's overall body of work this season might not have been overwhelming, he kills the Yankees. I mean, Yankee fans were doing parades on social media when they found out that Giolito was going to be out of this series. 10 of the 12 wild card series in these 3-game format that have been played have finished in sweeps, in 2-game sweeps. I think the Red Sox only chance of winning this series is winning in a sweep. I think they have to win this in 2 games because I think if you're putting out a rookie, inexperienced pitcher in a game 3 elimination game in Yankee Stadium with 56,000 people screaming at the top of their lungs, I just think that's too much to expect a young Red Sox pitcher to give you. It's not that they can't do it. It's just to expect a young player to be able to give you anything in that spot is asking too much. So I think the Red Sox have to do this in 2 games if they do it.
Hope you're enjoying this historic rivalry episode. But if you want to make lots of money while watching the playoffs, please check out FanDuel. While baseball is in intense postseason play, the NFL season is also here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love FanDuel because it gives you lots of opportunities to bet on lots of different sports so that even a sport you're not as familiar with, you can still win lots of money with. So I highly recommend it. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. You can win tons of money, I promise you, so make sure that you check that out. That's basically exactly what I said earlier. I said this changes the entire dynamic of the series, the fact that Giolito is no longer available, because not only does that put even more pressure on Crochet and Bello both to have lights out performances when they go out there. They both better be ready, but it just puts more pressure on this team as a whole to not allow this series to go to a game 3 because they just don't have the experience in their rotation where I would trust somebody enough to go out there in a game 3 do or die game on the road in the playoffs to send your team to the ALDS. As good as these guys have been in the Red Sox rotation, I mean, you know, we have a guy who was called up recently, has made a handful of starts. People want him to pitch in that game. But, I mean, he's so young. He's a rookie. He's only made like 4 starts with the Red Sox. And while those starts have been very good, it's such a different atmosphere in the postseason. And I 100% agree with you. And I said it earlier. If Giolito was available and this series was going to a game 3, I think we would be talking about it could go either way because, again, Giolito has the experience. And like you said, he always pitches well against the Yankees. So if I were the Yankees in that regard, I would be concerned going into a game 3 with him being the one on the mound. But I also feel like this is a situation in which it feels like a must-win game for the Red Sox with Crochet on the mound. No doubt about it, 100%. That has to happen.
They have to
game 2. Bello can be hit or miss. And if Bello is not on, then I don't feel like the Red Sox, you know, really realistically, I mean, obviously you never know, anything can happen, but I wouldn't be super confident going into game 3 if the Red Sox drop one of the first 2 games.
The thing is, and I think it's going to get overlooked just because of Crochet in this series, Max Fried had a really good postseason run with the Braves when they won the World Series a few years ago. Yep. And Carlos Rodon has a really solid track record in the postseason. So I wouldn't overlook that if I'm a Red Sox fan. And as good as Brian Bello has been, Carlos Rodon has been excellent this year and has been very stable for the Yankees. You're talking about 2 pitchers at the top of the rotation who won 19 and 18 games respectively. I mean, in today's modern era of baseball, that's incredibly impressive where nobody gives you length. And I think the fact that the Yankees have that length now built in their bullpen, with the Red Sox don't really have that. Again, you have those 2 gems at the back end of the bullpen, but you have to get to those guys. And if you have to get that bridge. That's why I think in the Red Sox, you need 7 innings out of Crochet tomorrow. And that's not saying I don't have a doubt that he'll give you that. But the Red Sox need 7 innings of 1-run ball out of Crochet. And that's very much in the realm of possibility because of how good Crochet is. But I don't think the Red Sox, and I'm not trying to say this as a conky Yankee fan, trust me. I don't know if the Red Sox have as great of a chance in this series if they don't take game 1.
Oh, no, I 100% agree with you. I think the Yankees could more afford to drop a game with Max Fried pitching than the Red Sox could afford to lose a game with Crochet pitching because of what game 3 would potentially look like. Because the Red Sox could go and win game 2 with Bello pitching. I mean, he could put up the same kind of numbers that he's put up at Yankee Stadium before. Like, we don't know. But I think the Yankees would be in a better place than the Red Sox would if they were to lose game 1 than if the Red Sox were to lose game 1. I think the Red Sox know that this Crochet start is a must-win game. And the other thing I will say about that is Alex Cora, I mean, the guy gets, you know, mixed thoughts. He does get a lot of hate from Red Sox fans. But I will say he managed this last week of baseball for this Red Sox team very, very well. And the Red Sox just went up against 2 playoff teams in the last week of the season when they weren't even sure if they were even going to make the playoffs. And they took 2 of 3 from Toronto and 2 of 3 from Detroit. Granted, the Tigers just completely were on a downfall and nobody knows why that happened or the fact that they blew their division in as insane of a way as they did. But, you know, they're still a good baseball team. Obviously, they're still a playoff team. So I was thinking like there's a possibility the Red Sox, you know, go 1-5 this week and miss the playoffs. They showed resilience. And I will say Alex Cora and the way that he's able to maneuver the bullpen, put guys into the right spots, especially as of late, he's kind of been able to navigate this bullpen in the way that he needs to. I do like the idea of Alex Cora managing a playoff team. And I like the idea of him kind of calling the shots in this wild card series. I mean, he has a great track record against the Yankees in the playoffs, against Aaron Boone in particular. So that's another factor that I will say is I do trust Alex Cora's ability to try to maneuver this and manage these games the way that he needs to, even if he's super aggressive with the bullpen like we have seen him do.
I'll say this. When you look at every element of these two teams, when it comes to pitching rotation, I think they're pretty equal when it comes to where they are. I mean, I think Crochet gives you the slight edge, but not by much based on what the Yankees have overall in their rotation. When you come to lineup, I think they're pretty even. The Yankees have more household names that you'll recognize more often, but the Red Sox manufacture runs in a different way than the Yankees do and can still put up runs. When I look at the bullpens, I think the Red Sox have so much strength at the back end of that bullpen when it comes to Chapman, when it comes to Whitlock, that it's just as good as the Yankee bullpen. Where I think the Red Sox are unequivocally, no doubt, better than the Yankees is in that managerial seat.
Yep.
Alex Cora is one of the best managers in all of baseball. Aaron Boone is one of the worst managers in all of baseball. It completely and utterly can change the series because I don't need to remind me. I'm sure that you're looking to, though. Game 1 of the World Series was one of the worst managerial decisions ever made, and he potentially lost the Yankees that World Series on that call to not bring Tim Hill in. That can change. If you think that changed a World Series, a 7-game World Series,
yep.
One decision in the first inning could change a 3-game playoff series easily. And I do think there's a very, very, very high chance that the manager seat can greatly affect this series. It's a 3-game series that the margin of error is so small, and it's just you cannot deny the Red Sox. I mean, we can sit here and debate all night who's got the better lineup, who's got the better rotation, who has the better bullpen. We'll go blue in the head fighting for each of our teams. It's not going to really get any progress. Neither of us can argue who has the better manager. It's one of them's potentially going to the Hall of Fame, and one of them's crowning achievement is still a hit that he had in 2003. So I that is what scares me the most. In my ideal series, it is a series where the Yankees need 0 managerial decisions to be made, because I don't trust a single thing Aaron Boone's going to do, and I trust almost everything Alex Cora is going to do. So, in my perspective, I hope this is a series where the managers are completely out of it and have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because I've seen a lot of Yankees fans say that, actually. Like, I've seen Yankees fans say, I could see the Yankees losing this series because of the managerial decisions, and I could see the Yankees losing this series because Alex Cora outmanages Aaron Boone again.
100%.
And the way that he navigates situations is going to set the Red Sox up for more success in the series. I think the Red Sox know that they're going into this series as underdogs. They know that this is a spot that they weren't even sure a week ago if they were even going to be in or not. And, I think this is going to be a grind for them. I 100% agree with you. The Red Sox bats need to find a way against Max Fried, because I trust that Garrett Crochet will give them what they need. They need to find a way against Max Fried. And if they can win game 1 and set the tone for the series, I would feel a lot better about the Red Sox chances in this series. Whereas if I'm in your shoes and the Yankees lose game 1, I still think there is a good chance that they could win the next 2 games after that. So it's very clearly the Red Sox who, are definitely the underdogs in this series and need to come into it and say, this is just like any other game. Because the minute some of these guys start getting in their heads, the minute we're going to start to see that youth shine through with this Red Sox roster, and then they could completely crumble, and then it just is a miserable experience for all of us Red Sox fans.
The key for either of these teams, do not let the other team score early, because I think it's specifically for your side, if the Red Sox get behind early and the Yankee crowd gets behind the Yankee team,
Yep.
it could be over really early for the Red Sox. Because if that crowd starts going with Crochet on the mound, with his lack of experience in pitching in big moments, I think that's where the Yankee crowd can really affect this game. Plus, the Red Sox youth, there is something, Gabby, to sitting in that dugout. And these guys all grew up watching baseball. Yep. And they all grew up watching games played in Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. When you start hearing that crowd and the Let's Go Yankees chant, and knowing it's October and I'm sitting here and it's Yankees Red Sox, a younger player is going to start to feel that in here. It's natural. And the Yankee players have been through it more and been there, done that mentality. Is a lot more in that Yankee dugout than it is in that Red Sox dugout. So, and same goes for the other side too. If the Red Sox are able to score early and get the Yankee crowd out of the game, now you can kind of settle into your game if you're the Red Sox, and Crochet can just go ahead and pitch. But if that first inning, the Yankees jump on them early, it could be lights out quick for the Boston Red Sox, because if that crowd starts getting into it, the crowd's going to be into it in the first inning regardless.
Right, yeah.
But if Judge hits a home run in the first inning, that's a nightmare scenario for the Red Sox, because then the crowd gets into it, and then it could be lights out really quick with a young roster.
Yeah, I would be interested too in seeing how they handle Judge. I could see a situation in which they just pitch around him for the entirety of the series. I would not be surprised if that does happen and they just don't give him pitches to hit. I mean, Crochet has pitched to him and he has struck him out a good amount over the course of his time pitching against him. I don't know if Alex Cora will want to take that. I don't know if Alex Cora want to take that chance in the playoffs or not, though. So that's going to be the thing that I am interested in seeing, is how they approach him in particular. But I like, if you're just looking at the overall picture of who Garrett Crochet is, and you're taking out the other factors, like you mentioned, with the crowd and the lineup that the Yankees have, if you're taking all of those factors out and you're just thinking about Garrett Crochet as a pitcher, he definitely can handle this lineup. That's not the question that I'm asking. It's just more, can he handle that lineup with the crowd behind them and the significance of the situation that he's in and the stage that he is on? Because if he loses that game or he has a bad outing, I feel like that's going to stem less from his stuff and more from the external factors that are coming into play in that game.
Oh, and where's the confidence in the Red Sox clubhouse if they lose game one? If you lose with Crochet on the mound, you can't have any confidence going. Like, the Yankees have him at that point. Because if you lose with your ace, at least the Yankees can turn around going into game two if they lose game one and say, oh, we got Rodon on the mound in game two. We have a chance. If you're the Red Sox and Crochet, who's potentially the Cy Young Award winner, goes down in game one, how do you sit there and tell your team, oh, we got this in game two, don't worry? And there's no going back to Fenway to lean on. There's no home crowd advantage. That to me is going to be really tough for the Red Sox. There's not really, the Red Sox have to win game one. Not that the Yankees could lose game one, but the Yankees can semi-afford it. The Red Sox cannot lose game one, I think.
Like, obviously you prefer for them to not lose game one. Yeah. I do agree with you. I think the Yankees have a better chance of coming back to win the series if they lose game one than the Red Sox do. Like, easily, 100%.
I want to know your honest feeling, though, going into this series, and not Red Sox fan Gabby, who's going to be sitting on the couch tomorrow night, clenching your fists and sweating profusely. Honestly, what do you feel happens in this series? Because Yankee fans are not going to like the answer that I have to give. My gut feeling right now, and I've thought about this a lot, like over the last 24 hours plus, ever since, this matchup was set, that it was Red Sox Yankees. And I said, all right, Gabby, let's think about this from a realistic perspective. Realistically, can the Red Sox win this series? Yes. Anybody can win any series. You don't know. Realistically, do the Red Sox have a roster that matches up to the Yankees? A lot of people would say on paper, no, but you look at what the Red Sox have done this year and the way that they've been winning games, they can utilize that to their advantage in a way that the Yankees cannot. And I do feel like the Red Sox this year, in so many situations when their backs were against the wall, they've come through and they've won games. And I think the way that Alex Cora will prepare this team is something that you don't get from a lot of other managers, in the way that he's able to motivate this team to win games. I think if they come out hitting in game one and they are confident,
I think they win the series. I think if the Red Sox win the game with Crochet starting, they win the series because they'll have all this momentum. And I also think another factor to consider here is I think there's so much more pressure on the Yankees to win this series than there is the Red Sox. The Red Sox are coming in with a lot less pressure on them to win this series. So I do think that'll weigh a factor too in this whole thing is they know that they're underdogs. They know they're a young team. They weren't even sure if they were going to be a postseason team this year. The pressure is far more on the Yankees. And if the Red Sox can win game one and make the Yankees feel a little bit uneasy for the rest of the series, I think the Red Sox win the series.
I think the Red Sox win the series too. I think there is too much pressure on this Yankee roster after going to the World Series last year and the pressure to repeat that and having the struggles they had in the middle of the season and then picking it up and playing the best baseball in the league in August and September. That coupled with the noise going on in New York right now. I don't believe athletes ever when they tell you that they don't hear the noise outside. They're not listening to sports radio. They don't see the newspapers. They see all of it. These guys are addicted to their phones just like we all are that are under the age of 50. Yep. These guys see all of it. I know the Yankees players have seen all of the New York Met talk that has gone on in New York City. You lose Juan Soto, and every Yankee fan has gone back to Mets fans in the last 2 days and given them, look who Big Brother is, look who the King of New York is, we're proving it to you. That adds an extreme amount of pressure onto this Yankee roster to now prove, oh, we are legit, we are still the New York Yankees. You go out there and lose in the wild card series, what does it mean, Gabby? What does it mean that you lost Juan Soto and went to the Mets? The Yankees played 2 more games in the Mets? Wonderful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure onto the Yankees to go out and prove that they still are those New York Yankees. And can they do it? Sure. Is the talent there? 100%. Oh, yeah. They proved it last year by going to the World Series. I'm not scared of that. I'm scared of the amount of pressure under this team. And when there's a lot of pressure under a team, the X factor is usually the manager and what the manager can say and decisions that he can make to mitigate that pressure and the faith that he's going to make the right decision at the right time for the team to succeed. This team knows their manager stinks. They know he's not going to make the right call. The entire fan base knows he's going to make the wrong call. That, to me, is a major concern and a major turning point going forward for this Yankee team because I think if you got Joe Torre, you got Joe Girardi in that dugout, it changes the entire mindset to just focusing on what's right in front of them.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron Boone doesn't provide that luxury. And I think that's going to be the downfall of this Yankee team.
Yeah. And I think Alex Cora knows the situation with the Red Sox and knows where they're at and knows they are going into an environment that's very difficult to play postseason baseball. And I do think he's going to have that team ready. And I do think there are people who are counting the Red Sox out, but I think they've been counted out a lot this year. And especially after the Devers trade, when everybody was saying the season was over, this team knows that. And I think they're going to come in determined to prove people wrong and say, we have a shot and we belong here. So I do feel genuinely like I have a better feeling about the Red Sox winning this series than other people might. And I think that's solely due to the fact that the Yankees have that pressure on them. And yes, the Yankees are definitely a hot baseball team right now. They've been playing very good baseball as of late, but is that hot streak something that's going to last? Because as easily as a team gets hot, they could also get super cold just as easily.
Yeah, so, I think that's what would scare me if I was on your side, though, is the fact that the Yankees, generally those teams that are peaking at the right time, like I don't think 2 weeks ago, I would have told you the Cleveland Guardians have no shot of doing anything in the postseason.
Oh, same. And now I'm like,
and now I think they might go to the CS. They legitimately they could. So it does have a lot to do with who's playing well at the right time. And I don't want to hear the argument of, oh, well, the Yankees, look who they had on their schedule at the end of the season. You can only play who's in front of you. You can only play who's assigned to you. And it doesn't matter sometimes who you beat. Having that confidence that you're going to go out there and win every single game, I think that is huge for this Yankee team, is the fact that they're going into that they've won 8 in a row. They're going into this postseason playing such pristine baseball
So you think that will play a factor in this?
I do. I think them being the hottest team in baseball, I barring Cleveland, but I think the Yankees get that little nod over them because of the talent the Yankees have. I think Cleveland's talent will at some point be the hindrance of them actually being able to go far because there's just not enough talent there. The Yankees have the talent there. So I think that could get by. I think those are the two factors. Playing the hottest baseball in the league right now and the crowd. I genuinely think Yankee Stadium is a problem for a young, youthful team coming in. And it's very easy for the Red Sox to sit here and have confidence right now. But in 18 hours from when we're recording this, when they're on the field warming up and there's a buzz in that stadium and the air is kind of chilly and the history of Yankees Red Sox starts to dwell on you, Aaron Judge has been there, done that, doesn't care. Cody Bellinger's been there, done that, doesn't care. Rodon, Fried, keep naming the list of guys that have all been there and done that. The Red Sox, you can't keep naming that list. So that's where I think the Yankees have a significant advantage going forward. I still think the Red Sox, unfortunately, I think they're going to win the series. I think that this Red Sox roster is more poised and there's a better manager there. I think they'll overcome that. But the Yankees' chances, I think, have a lot to do with their crowd. And if they can get under the Red Sox skin, and again, if you can score early and take the Red Sox team out of it and make them start to think, oh, crap, look where I'm at, that is the Yankees' best chance going forward.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And it's interesting because it goes to show that postseason baseball is so much more about everything else than it is just about your roster. I mean, we've seen the Dodgers have fantastic rosters and seasons where they win 100 games and then they get eliminated in the NLDS. So you don't really know what's going to happen until you're there. And there's just so much that goes into it. I mean, if you're looking on paper right now, people probably would say the Yankees should win the series, but I just think there are factors that the Red Sox have right now that are very unique to them that you don't see with a lot of teams. And it's what helped them turn their season around after they traded Devers when people were doubting them. It's what helped them in this month of September when they were struggling and still got them into the playoffs. I just think they have a factor that you don't see from a lot of other teams that I think could help them to surprise people in this series.
I wish you the best of luck personally. For you as a person, I hope it goes well. For the entire fan base and for the franchise you root for, I really don't hope it goes well personally because I have a Yankee affiliation. But as a person, I hope you're happy. I'll say that.
I appreciate that. That feeling's definitely mutual. I wish nothing but the worst for the Yankees, but for you personally, yeah, I wish for your well-being to be intact. But we'll have.
It's going to be awful. It's going to be awful to watch. Let's be honest with each other. Like it's
not going to be enjoyable.
That's the funny part about playoff baseball too. Is none of it's fun. No. It's not enjoyable. If you're an actual fan of these teams, you don't enjoy watching this. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. I do somewhat envy the baseball fan who can just sit, crack a drink, and just watch the game. That's got to be wonderful. But
that was me the last few years when the Red Sox weren't in it. I just got to go and enjoy the games, and I was really only just rooting for the Yankees to lose, and everybody else, I was like, anybody else can go and win it, and it was fun. It was genuinely fun because I wasn't stressed because my team wasn't in it. But now it's like every single pitch is going to be like, oh my god, oh my god,
awful. So overrated.
Well, this was so much fun. I hope everyone enjoyed, the back and forth. This is going to be such a fun series. And just a reminder, everybody, you can check out both of these shows on YouTube or any other podcast platform Monday through Friday. Make sure you follow both Locked On Red Sox and Locked On Yankees. Both are on Twitter. And Brian and I are also both on Instagram as well. So make sure to follow us on social media and check out our shows on any podcast platform. I promise you we'll also be here throughout the postseason. You're kind of stuck with us and also in the offseason as well, when I'm hopefully not crying in despair over losing to the Yankees. So we'll have to see how that all goes. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you so much. And obviously, last but not least, go Red Sox.